scene script. Have you ever pondered how your greatest vulnerabilities could turn into your most profound strengths? Vulnerability. It's a concept that often carries a stigma, a sense of weakness or exposure. But what if I told you that vulnerability is far from a weakness? Indeed, it's one of our most potent strengths, a hidden power that lies within each and every one of us. It's a power that, when embraced, can lead to a profound transformation, a journey of self-discovery and growth. Vulnerability is not about revealing our weaknesses or our flaws. It's about showing our true selves, our authentic selves, without the fear of judgment or rejection. It's about opening up, letting our guard down, and allowing ourselves to be seen in all our beautiful, complex, and imperfect glory. Many of us spend our lives building walls, constructing barriers to protect ourselves. But in doing so, we often shut out not only the potential harm, but also the possibilities for connection, for understanding, for growth. We limit our potential, our joy, our ability to fully experience life. Vulnerability is about tearing down those walls, about choosing courage over comfort, authenticity over pretense. It's about embracing our whole selves, with all our strengths and all our weaknesses. It's about understanding that our vulnerabilities are not something to be feared or hidden, but rather something to be celebrated, something that makes us uniquely us. And that's the theme of our journey today. We're going to explore the power of vulnerability, the strength that lies in embracing our whole selves. We're going to delve into the misconceptions, the fears, the potential, and the transformative power of vulnerability. We're going to discover how embracing our vulnerabilities can lead to growth, to connection, to a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. So as we embark on this journey, I invite you to open your mind, to let go of any preconceived notions, and to embrace the potential that lies in vulnerability. Because in the end, our greatest strength may just be our willingness to be vulnerable. Let's delve into a story that beautifully illustrates this concept. Meet Emma, a woman who found her strength in the most unexpected place, her vulnerability. Emma was once like many of us, a prisoner of her own self-doubt and insecurity. She was a high achiever, a successful corporate executive, always pushing herself to the limit. Yet beneath the surface of her success, she was constantly wrestling with a sense of inadequacy. It seemed like she was never enough, no matter how much she achieved. Her life was a constant quest for perfection, a never-ending race against herself. She lived in fear of making a mistake, of being seen as less than perfect. This fear was the invisible cage that kept her from truly living, from truly connecting with others, and most importantly, from connecting with herself. As time went on, the weight of her self-doubt and insecurity started to take a toll on her. She began to feel exhausted, burnt out, and disconnected from her own life. It was as if she was watching herself from the outside, unable to touch or feel the joy of her own existence. One day, during a routine meeting at work, Emma had a breakdown. Tears streamed down her face in front of her colleagues. She felt embarrassed, exposed, and incredibly vulnerable. But at that moment, something shifted within her. She realized that she couldn't keep running from herself. She couldn't keep hiding her true feelings, her fears, and her insecurities. So Emma started on a journey of self-discovery. She began to peel back the layers of her fears and insecurities. She started to embrace her vulnerability, to accept her imperfections, to acknowledge her fears. She allowed herself to be seen, really seen, for the first time in her life. Embracing her vulnerability wasn't easy. It was scary, uncomfortable, and at times painful. But it was also liberating. It freed her from the shackles of her self-doubt and insecurity. It allowed her to connect with others on a deeper level, to form authentic relationships based on honesty and mutual understanding. Slowly but surely, Emma transformed. She began to see her vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a strength. She realized that her vulnerability was what made her human, what made her relatable, what made her real. It was the source of her compassion, her empathy, her creativity. As Emma embraced her vulnerability, she found her true strength. She found the courage to be herself, to express her feelings, to stand up for what she believed in. She found the strength to live authentically, to live bravely, to live fully. Emma's story is a testament to the power of embracing vulnerability. It shows us that our vulnerability is not something to be feared or hidden, but something to be cherished and celebrated. It reminds us that our vulnerability is what makes us human, what connects us to others, and what gives us the courage to be ourselves. It teaches us that in our vulnerability, we find our greatest strength. Emma's story is a testament to the power of embracing vulnerability. So, what was the turning point for Emma? How did she transform her vulnerability into strength? Imagine a single moment, a pivotal juncture in time that changes everything. For Emma, this moment arrived unexpectedly, like a clap of thunder on a clear day. It was the day she decided to stop hiding, to stop running from herself. She decided to embrace her vulnerability, to accept herself for who she was, warts and all. You see, Emma had spent so much of her life in denial, hiding behind a facade of strength and invincibility. But that day, she looked at herself in the mirror and said, "Enough is enough. I am tired of pretending. I am tired of hiding. I am tired of being scared. I am ready to be me." What drove this change? Emma realized that her vulnerability was not a flaw. It was not something to be fixed or cured. It was a part of her as much as her laughter, her tears, her dreams. It was an integral part of her identity, her essence. Acceptance. That was the key. Acceptance of herself, acceptance of her vulnerability. It was not an easy process. It was fraught with fear, with uncertainty, with self-doubt. But Emma persevered. She began to love herself, not despite her vulnerability, but because of it. She began to see her vulnerability as a strength, as a source of courage. It was the courage to be herself, to express herself, to live authentically. And guess what? The world did not crumble. The sky did not fall. Instead, Emma found herself standing taller, living louder. She found her voice. She found her strength. And it was a strength born from her vulnerability, from her authenticity, from her acceptance of her whole self. Emma discovered that her vulnerability was not a weakness, but a source of strength. And that, my friends, was the turning point. That was the moment Emma found her strength in her vulnerability. That was the moment she embraced her whole self. And that, ultimately, was the moment she truly began to live. But how does vulnerability translate into strength? Is there a science behind it? Well, let's dive right into it. Vulnerability, often seen as a weakness, is actually a source of incredible strength. It's a doorway to our most authentic self, a bridge to genuine connections, and a pathway to personal growth and resilience. Let's start with the psychological aspect. The act of being vulnerable involves the courage to express our true feelings, thoughts, and experiences. This openness allows us to be seen and understood by others in a more authentic way. It fosters deeper connections and relationships, and in these relationships we find strength. We find a support system, a network of individuals who see us, know us, and accept us for who we are. But it's not just about connections. Embracing vulnerability also leads to increased self-awareness. When we open ourselves up, we start to understand our feelings and thoughts better. We recognize our fears, our desires, our strengths, and our weaknesses. This self-awareness fuels personal growth. It allows us to identify areas for improvement, to set goals, and to work towards them. Moreover, being vulnerable can increase our resilience. It's a bit counterintuitive, isn't it? But think about it. When we expose our vulnerabilities, we expose ourselves to potential criticisms and rejections. And each time we do that, we build our capacity to handle such situations. We become more resilient to life's ups and downs. And resilience, as we know, is a key component of strength. Moving on to the emotional aspect of vulnerability. When we embrace vulnerability, we allow ourselves to feel. We give ourselves permission to experience joy, sadness, fear, excitement, and every other emotion in its purest form. We start living more fully, more intensely. We begin to appreciate the beauty of our emotions and the strength they bring. They make us human, they make us real. So the next time you find yourself avoiding vulnerability, remember this. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your strength. It's a testament to your courage to be yourself, to express your emotions, and to connect with others. It's a testament to your resilience, your capacity to bounce back from adversities. It's a testament to your commitment to personal growth, to becoming the best version of yourself. Vulnerability is about embracing your whole self, with all its complexities and contradictions. It's about accepting that you're not perfect, and that's okay. It's about understanding that it's okay to have weaknesses, it's okay to feel, it's okay to fail. Because each failure is a stepping stone to success. Each emotion is a thread in the tapestry of your life, and each weakness is an opportunity for growth. Vulnerability is not just about exposing our weaknesses, it's about revealing our true selves. It's about showing the world who you really are, not who you think you should be. And in that authenticity, in that truth, lies tremendous strength. How can you, like Emma, turn your vulnerabilities into strengths? You might be pondering this question right now. Well, rest assured, because you're about to receive some actionable steps that can guide you on this transformative journey. First off, let's talk about self-reflection. Self-reflection is like holding up a mirror to your inner self. It's about acknowledging your fears, your insecurities, your weak points. It's about saying, yes, I have these vulnerabilities, and that's okay. You see, the first step to embracing your vulnerability is to recognize it without judgment. So take some time each day to reflect on yourself. Write in a journal, meditate, or simply sit in silence. These activities can help you gain a deeper understanding of your vulnerabilities. Next, don't hesitate to seek support. You're not alone in this journey. Reach out to people you trust, family, friends, mentors, or professionals. Talk to them about your feelings, your fears, your doubts. Their perspective can provide you with new insights and help you see your vulnerabilities in a different light. Remember, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help, it's a sign of courage. Now let's move on to practicing self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on ourselves, especially when we're dealing with our vulnerabilities. We often forget that we're human, and it's okay to make mistakes, to fail, to be imperfect. So, show yourself the same kindness and understanding you'd show to a dear friend. When you're feeling down, remind yourself that it's okay, that you're doing your best. Replace self-criticism with self-compassion, and you'll find it easier to embrace your vulnerabilities. Lastly, challenge your negative self-talk. Our minds can be our own worst enemies sometimes, filling us with doubt and fear. But we have the power to change that narrative. When you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, stop. Replace those thoughts with positive affirmations. Say, I am capable, I am worthy, I am enough. Changing your mindset can make a world of difference in how you perceive and deal with your vulnerabilities. So there you have it. Self-reflection, seeking support, practicing self-compassion, and challenging negative self-talk. These are your tools for embracing your vulnerability. Use them wisely and consistently, and you'll find yourself growing stronger, more resilient, more authentic. But always remember this: embracing your vulnerability is not about reaching a perfect state of fearlessness or invincibility. It's about accepting and honoring your whole self, flaws and all. It's about facing your fears and insecurities, not running away from them. It's about finding strength in what you once considered weakness. Remember, embracing your vulnerability is a journey, not a destination. What happens when you embrace your whole self, vulnerabilities and all? Imagine you're standing before a mirror. You see your reflection, but instead of focusing on the flaws, you acknowledge them as part of your unique identity. This is the power of embracing your whole self. It's about accepting your imperfections, not as weaknesses, but as facets of your authentic self. When you embrace your whole self, including your vulnerabilities, something magical happens. The shackles of societal expectations and self-doubt fall away. You begin to see yourself not as the world dictates, but as you truly are. This newfound freedom leads to a heightened sense of self-awareness. You become more in tune with your feelings, your needs, and your desires. This self-awareness paves the way for personal fulfillment. You start to pursue what genuinely makes you happy, and not what you think should make you happy. Moreover, embracing your vulnerability can significantly improve your relationships. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, everything is visible. Honesty and openness replace pretense and facades. Your relationships become more genuine because you are genuine. You're no longer playing a role, you're simply being you. But perhaps the most profound benefit of embracing your vulnerability is the peace it brings. The constant struggle to appear perfect, to meet every expectation, is exhausting. When you accept and love your whole self, that struggle ends. The peace that comes from no longer fighting against yourself is immeasurable. It's important to remember that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it is a testament to your strength. It takes courage to reveal your authentic self, to stand tall in your truth, and to say, "This is me, flaws and all." So I ask again, what happens when you embrace your whole self, vulnerabilities and all? You find freedom, you find authenticity, you find happiness, and above all, you find peace. So, are you ready to find strength in your vulnerability and embrace your whole self?